And welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke. Today is Sunday, the 2nd of November 2025, or the 13th of September in the 13th year of Chongalguk. And as you can see, Reverend Daniel Meadows will be giving the message this morning. So thank you all for coming. And let's begin with a bow to our true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, Chandi Champuninge Kyombe. Paro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English.
가전맨세 1. 전일국 주인 우리 가족은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조 이사인 지산천국과 전산천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 1. Our family, the owner of Chongguk, pledges to seek our original homeland and build the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven, the original ideal of creation, by centering on true love. Thank you. I'd like to share again a True Mother's Chonbo original Holy Wine benediction prayer that she gave on the 28th of January 2020. Dearest and most noble Heavenly Parent, you had a dream. You created everything in your image, and finally you created our first ancestors, a man and a woman. You looked forward to the day when they would be able to complete their responsibility. However, that did not happen. As a result, you had no choice but to look for your lost children over a long 6,000 years. We, the true parents, are aware of the circumstances and the heart with which you could only carry out this arduous providence of salvation and restoration through indemnity. For the first time in 6,000 years, you sent to this land your only begotten daughter who can complete the providence, and the Messiah at the second coming, who had promised to return and who can bring Christianity to fruition, finally came. However, the Christian sphere that you prepared for true parents has not yet become one with your providence. As the true parents, and knowing well how eagerly heaven has awaited this day, we began, through our holy wedding in 1960, the work of the blessing that gives rebirth and resurrection. Today, there are many blessed families established around the world. Now, on the foundation of having fulfilled the standard of national restoration that I, your only begotten daughter, and the true mother promised to accomplish in front of you within the 7-year providential course that followed True Father's ascension. The Chombo Providence, which will enable blessed families around the world to stand in the position of having fulfilled their responsibilities as blessed families, has begun. Heavenly Parent, please remember your children of whom you are proud. May you guide and protect all the blessed families inducted as Chombo, so that they may all advance toward and soon bring about the day when you can realize throughout the world your dream and hope, which you have yearned to realize for so long. This will be the day on which you can say, everything has been accomplished. It is all fulfilled. Thank you. I pray and proclaim all these things in True Parents' name, Arju. Thank you, and let's give a warm welcome to the Reverend Daniel as he shares this morning.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Today, I'm just going to share from the Chong Song Gyung on life of faith. So these are some of the words the Father spoke, and yeah, just anyway, had some sort of inspiring heart. So, in leading a life of faith, you cannot be a spectator. You follow me, but you should not practice your life of faith centering on me. You have to practice it centering on yourself. So, our not being a spectator is, I think, a very core point about our movement and our life of faith is that um, we always look at things as from a point of view of how do we take responsibility of the situation. That's how true parents have really trained um, have trained us to have the kind of heart to take ownership of things when we see them in a sense of spiritual duty. But Father also says, don't practice your life of faith centering on me. You have to practice it centering on yourself. We need to be our own conscience as well. So, of course, we align with true parents and we align with God, but our life of faith has to be based upon our own heart and our own mind. In that sense, we can't expect someone else to be the voice of our conscience, but we have to be ourselves, be the voice of our own conscience. So you must preserve your way of faith irrespective of what others do. A life of faith centering on heaven is a life of gratitude and contentment in the deepest sphere of the heart. Unlike any experience you may have with a person who is close to you. So, whatever others do, that's if our life of faith is centered upon ourselves and upon our own sort of isn't pinned to the action of others, then that's when we can become very strong in our faith. You must preserve your way of faith irrespective of what others do. So, when we center upon also upon heaven, then that life of gratitude and contentment can bring us into a deeper sphere of heart. So Father's saying that our life of faith ought to develop within us that kind of contentment, that kind of sort of peace. In the Korean Han epic that has recently come out, it goes into quite a lot of depth of the spiritual root of the Korean people and how their search for many different religions, starting with shamanism and then going to Confucianism and then Buddhism and then Christianity. The Korean people were really looking for ways to resolve the sort of difficulties in their life from a spiritual aspect, looking at, being attacked by spirits or illness or something like this, as well as looking for a moral life. They were sort of guided as a people to look for something to alleviate the immorality in the world and the unfairness that seems to be dealt out to different people. And so they look for that in religion. And there is really an incredibly strong culture in traditional Korean culture of the expectation that through their study and their through the guidance of heaven, they'll be able to attain a life that is good and moral for all people. When understanding that and having a look at that, it really does it sheds a lot of light on the heart, sort of the Korean heart, I don't know if I can say that, of true parents, where they're saying that through the method of faith and through being guided by heaven, that way we can come into a point of of peace and contentment. And that should be the goal of our faith. Or living any life of faith should be this goal of reaching, of alleviating difficulty and alleviating pain and problems in life through spiritual development and motivation. Our life of faith should be such that no matter how evil the world may be, we can look at heaven and earth and say, I am grateful, I am happy. If we cannot feel this way, then in this sad circumstance, we must determine ourselves anew and pray, I am a sinner. Please grant me the courage I lack. So what I was explaining just now sort of helps for me understand this, the end part of this paragraph is because it sounds a bit without that sort of understanding, and then it feels like, oh, if you haven't reached a point where you're happy and grateful all the time, then you've got to pray for forgiveness. And sounds a bit funny. But from the understanding of, your life of faith needs to be, you need to sort of get on the pathway that no matter the difficulties or no matter the mountains or that you have to come across or the evils in the world, you should be able to look at heaven and earth and say, I'm grateful, I'm happy. And if you can't, then you need to work a little more on this point. Try and find out why it is that you can't reach that point within yourself. Something like this starts to make a bit more sense. And Father says, you need to say, I'm a sinner. Please grant me the courage I lack. There's a fair bit to I think reflect about on that point because to say I am a sinner, please grant me the courage in order to feel grateful and happy about heaven and earth. Then we need to think, okay, what is it that Father's trying to have us break down and see there? I think it's very easy to look at the world and get very disheartened, especially these days. Chris Bruce was telling me a while ago. He was saying, it's in these days everything is coming out. All the evils of the world are starting to get shown, and it's not that there's more evil now. It's just that it's being revealed, which is something that I think about a lot when you hear about all these sort of terrible things that are happening, in sort of every society, and every time they start anyway. It's very easy to look at it and become very despairing and think, oh gosh, well, this is a very evil place, and how are we going to take responsibility for this? How are we going to help fix this? But we can always look at heaven and earth and say, I am grateful, I'm happy. One of the reasons I feel I can do that is because of true parents, of understanding the victory that the true parents brought and the completion of the establishment of blessed families and of God's lineage on the earth. Then when I think of that, I think, okay, that's very positive, actually. The world's not more evil than it was before. It is just still maybe as much evil as it ever was, I assume. People still have as much good in them as they have previously, which is quite a lot, I like to think. And now that, anyway, heaven's will is really being secured, then I feel, okay, I don't have to worry too much. Still, I we need to have concern, but I can be grateful. I can be happy when I look at heaven and earth. Something like this is my feeling. There are two types of religious people in the world. One type is those who hide their shortcomings and seek material comforts, blessings, and the welfare of their own religious denomination of people or people. Religions that focus on receiving blessings will disappear. Yeah. Father's really said that, I think it's very clear how Father lived and worked. He invested incredible amounts in people and, incredible amounts of people or religions or denominations or movements that actually persecute our movement. So, he invested in China and in Russia, in North Korea, but also he invested so much into Christian denominations as well. And they didn't always return that love and investment. But father's heart and mother's heart was really to offer their blessings and to love everyone with that incredible heart. So he's saying if we need to still maintain that heart, that we become a movement that doesn't seek just to hide our shortcomings and seek material comforts and to seek blessings, but to pass these on, these blessings and welfare to all people. Because if we don't, then we may disappear. That is the threatening of heavenly parents there. Don't just live for yourself if you're living for me. The thing you do for the least of your brothers, that you do for me too. Since we came to know this, the Unification Church emphasized personal sacrifice to help God and liberate Him. What is to be achieved through unification? It is the liberation of God. This is an incredible thought that I don't think is anywhere else in any other denomination or movement. The liberation of God. Through unification, it's not our benefit. Not directly, we can say. The main point of unification is the liberation of God, which is our benefit. But it's the center of that idea is not self-centered. Our church emphasizes personal sacrifice to help God and liberate Him. That has been the core sort of heart, I think, of our movement. That we really look inwardly in that way of how can I help God? How can I liberate God? And I think because of that, I think that blessed families are incredibly precious, especially in the eyes of God. Originally, the true God in the ideal world under His dominion would have sung songs of praise and happiness with the first human ancestors who would have attended Him. But instead, because of God's miserable situation, we seek to liberate Him. This is an amazing plan. That such an idea has emerged in the realm of religion is tremendously joyful news to God. It's joyful news to God, a Jew. It's so interesting, the perspective of how this is talked about. It's not first of all pointing out how it's great news for us, but saying it's great news for God. This is the best thing for God. If you care about God, you must care about this idea. How do we liberate God? So it's, anyway, really a very beautiful understanding from that point. And it really shows the heart of true parents, how they always had God at the front of what they do. That's also, I feel, maybe how it's sometimes it's hard to understand when true parents do think sometimes, because they are first and foremost thinking of God and liberation of God. And then from that point, I think, okay, what do I need to do and how do I work from here in order to achieve that liberation? Anyway, I think that's an important point when considering uh, where true parents' action. Sometimes when I read true parents' words as well, I need to think from that perspective too. Um, from time to time, I read something of true fathers, and I read it, and I think, oh man, what's he saying? I can't make sense. Um, but sometimes it's contextual, or sometimes it's fathers talking to a specific point, but other times fathers talking from a point of view of what can I tell you that will help you liberate God? And when you read from that point of view, then sometimes it becomes much easier to sort of get why father's talking about something, or why true parents move in this direction. A life of faith is about resolving the issue of death while on earth. You may not know much about convicts on death row, but I know well, having lived with them. Yeah, I was a bit, anyway, when Father mentioned this, I sort of was like, what? When did you live with row inmates, Father? But then I remembered, oh yeah, probably many times. He's he's been to prison quite a bit. And of course, Hungnam, was probably had everyone there was on death row. But there's probably many times in which fathers rubbed shoulders with convicts who are going to die. Um, or on waiting for their execution. Um, Sometimes I forget that point about True Father, that oh yeah, he really went through some pretty incredible things. Um, you have no idea how serious such convicts become when facing death. When a holiday such as Chuseok approaches, those convicts reflect on it as if it were the last Chuseok in history. When the wind blows or a typhoon hits, they observe it in the same way. They say, this typhoon will be the last one I experience while I am on Earth. They spend their last days looking at all things with a serious heart and feeling a new feeling and new appreciation. Mm. I feel like it's fairly true in that way, that if you're certain of your death in the, um, if you're going to be executed, then suddenly you're going to be, and Father says it like this, that people appreciate things, the mundane things, a lot more. They suddenly, even looking at the wind or something, and they look at it with a serious heart and a reflective heart. Oh, this is possibly the last time I will feel the breeze on my face. Um, so very interesting, um, about yeah, how they look at the mundane things in our life, I guess. I remember a story I heard recently was that I think it was Jim Carrey. He was in Hawaii and somehow got some news of something. He said, "Oh, there's a nuclear bomb that's going to hit Hawaii. There's been an accident and a nuclear bomb's going to hit Hawaii, so you have about 10 minutes to live," or something like that. I didn't hear the whole story, but the point of it was, so what he did was he just kind of dropped everything and he grabbed a book and he went out and sat on the beach, and he just sat on the beach and he just enjoyed it, and he read his book. And of course, it didn't happen. He lived, but he said that 10 minutes was uh, some of the most peaceful 10 minutes of his whole life, which is which is pretty interesting. You know, everyone else sort of they were not didn't get this kind of message, and they were just living normally on. But he was, yes, so peaceful, because he expected his imminent death within about 10 minutes. So he just did what I guess his heart really desired, maybe, or you know, so okay, I'll relax and I'll enjoy with my favorite book. It sounds like something out of a movie, or like The Twilight Zone. Um, and yeah, it's interesting that that perspective, that seriousness. Among those people who walk the path of faith, I wonder how many have such a serious attitude, and how many value their life as divine life and face each day with a new resolve. This is an important question, because I am in this serious place. I keep going this way. So Father's saying that he has this attitude and this heart. Um, I remember another time he talked about how he looked at a flower on the side of the road, or he was saying when you look, you know, at a flower, you should be able to marvel at it for a thousand years of how unique and incredible it is. This small bit of creation. Or he talked about another time how he ate an apple for 3 hours. And the first hour he just like held it and sniffed it and looked at it, and then only took a bite on the second hour, and then he spent all this time just appreciating this apple. Uh, that's a very interesting, interesting heart, right? But we can understand that Father, when he looks at life, and I guess he also understands, you know, the value of our time, and how each little thing in creation's got the design of God, that God has made it, and that within it is the elements of God, the yin and the yang, and the plus and the minus. And so he can get totally fascinated with small things. Um, yeah, and that's a really beautiful mindset, I think. Father saying in your life of faith, you know, how much do you think like this? How much um, do you value your life as divine? So it's very hard sometimes to do that because life is busy. But it is good to find a time and place to reconnect with that and to understand that seriousness. Because although I think none of us are facing imminent death, we still have the expectation that our life is going to continue for many good decades, or however long. Um, we still, yes, it's still the truth that we are on a limit. And so we ought to, as people of faith, have that um, extra depth of looking at the world and extra heart of appreciating uh, all the things of creation. Yeah, so that's my sharing, and thank you very much, brothers and sisters. Adieu. Maybe.
Yeah. Thank you, Reverend Daniel, for sharing with us this morning. And yeah, I was reflecting a little bit on what you presented. I was thinking about, yeah, the life of faith. I saw like three points sort of highlighted for me in understanding life of faith. One, you know, to take responsibility, as it says, we're not spectators. You know, we need to take the action. We need to practice it, and not centered on others or expecting help, but to really do it ourselves, because that's a really key thing as a life of faith is to take the responsibility, because we know regular Christian understanding of faith is you don't do anything, you just believe, you have the faith, and it's all done for you. But and then so they'll say things like it's done by faith, and you don't need any action. But the thing is, the faith is taking responsibility, to take ownership, to take that recognition that it cannot happen without myself, really investing. And so there's that aspect of a life of faith, and then there's the other aspect of a life of faith, and it was highlighted that that we should say, I am grateful, I am happy, and we need to feel this way. And in our life of faith, we often have experiences that help us feel happy and grateful. But to maintain that feeling, to really keep that feeling, Father said, you need to repent. So that's the other aspect that is deeply connected to faith. We need to repent and to recognize that I am a sinner, and grant me the courage I lack. And so that made it interesting, because to feel grateful and happy means that our conscience is clear, because we're doing our responsibility. But if we don't have a clear conscience, then we need to continually repent. And so that's another aspect of a person who has faith, is to repent and to change, so that we can rejoice and we can feel this way because we did what we're supposed to do. And also that the next one is make an offering. We need that personal sacrifice, because of we need to liberate God. And so how do we liberate God? God needs to become free, and to make an offering, we need to be able to enable God to enter us, because the offering is acceptable. We've done something that changed ourself, that opens the door, that enables us to fulfill our goal of being, the temple of God. Because our life of faith is to liberate God, but that liberation, God is, where is God that needs to be liberated? I mean, obviously God is not connected, because of the fall. All connection to God was lost. The parent-child relationship was broken, and so to liberate God means for us to change by making that personal sacrifice that enables us to open our heart so God can enter, so God is free to come, so that we can be what God originally desired us to be. And so, to me, those were the three aspects of a life of faith, to take responsibility, to repent, and to make an offering that enables us, well, myself, to truly connect to God as our parent, and to be proud of ourselves in fulfilling the dream of heaven by becoming the children that mature, so that we can be the embodiment of Heavenly Parent. And we know our true parents are the very first and will never be replaced, and because of them, God is succeeded, and we have the Chongil Sanctum, which is God's home on earth at this moment. So it's really great for us to be able to work together as a community, and we certainly do need to repent because of our shortcomings, cause the situation we have today with Mother in detention and religion being persecuted. And so we can't remain silent. Our life of faith should be, very clearly expressed, so that, as Mother said, through the Spirit and truth, we really need to use the Spirit and explain the truth, and the kingdom will emerge. So thank you, Daniel, for sharing, and many things to reflect and to embody. So thank you, and that's my sort of reflection this morning, and open up to anyone else that like to share. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, well, nobody's saying anything, so I'll try to say something. It is, it is a very big subject about the individual responsibility, and like Jesus said, you are one in me, I am one in you. He's one in us, so that you are all can be one with God. So we look at whether in the community or in the church or whatever religions, there is the trap of the being recognized by the community, by the church. And if we get trapped into that, there's a million ways that Satan can use to try to destroy us, in the sense that if you're not accepted by this and that and this and all the conditions that requires us to feel valued, there's a million ways that Satan can use to try to destroy us and separate and divide our church, our religions in general. So the trap of religion, the religion can be a trap, and at the same time it can be our salvation. So there's the two aspects, two-edged sword, where it can be a salvation, also it can be a distraction. So people can go to a church and eventually get worse when they get out of it than they get in. If they are become trapped into the sense of expecting the recognitions and being happy and being satisfied and being holy, being good, being whatever value you can put on in multiplied by the number of people in the church being accepted by them and so on. The whole thing is that it can be a big trap in a way, and that's where if we are spectators, we're not acting in terms of recognizing ourselves as being the child of God, then we that's where the whole thing is, I think. It's a huge area there where Trumada in prison now. That's one of the reasons. This is one of the reason why. And how Satan infiltrates in our church, and we are accusing each other on the top level and so on and things. We don't realize how much actually we have been a victim, even all those we are accusing now. I've been a victim of the Satan invading with the government, with the Lee Jae-myung evil tricks, an extremely smart way of dividing our church from within. And so we find a way to forgive ourselves within, then we can resolve things. But if we don't, then we become still prey to that evil power of the law from the Satan's side of. So the more you study about what's going on in the government in Korea and what's happening there, you can see clearly what happened in the church, how Satan invaded. And so we have to be clear also about everything, not just be blind, but also be open to research details about how things happen, and to realize there's such a bigger thing happening behind it. So there's many things, that came out of this, but Yeah, we ourselves as a person, we need to really love our spouse, love people around us, our family, and not see ourselves in a negative way as in a way that we are a victim of something, of the church, or a victim of something else. But we are always, number one, it's not our belonging to the church that's important, is that our belonging to God. So that if you keep that in mind, then we are not subservient to something or religion or anything. We are subservient to God first of all. If you lose that, and we see our relationship with God as the church as being more important than the relationship with God, then we can be deceived, and that's how the church divide and split everywhere. So that yeah, that's my feeling in the moment. Thank you for your listening. Yeah.
Yeah, Genevieve. Yeah. Just reflect or even share anything that's going on. Yes, Chris, go ahead. Thank you.
I'll fill in some time as well. Morning, everyone. I was quite surprised, Daniel, so many things in those few paragraphs to talk about. I was quite stunned, to be honest, as you read through that. First one is life of faith should be centered on yourself, not true parents, right? That was a kind of a stunner too. And I thought how easy it is to go through our life of faith. Oh, I love you, true parents. I love you, true parents. Well, what did you do, in your life? So the second one was you have a relationship with God unlike anyone else, the closest people to you. I thought that was interesting too. So I'm gathering means that should be the strongest, right? The most deepest relationship you have, which is also another challenge, isn't it? Incredible. And then thirdly, as Reverend Adamides mentioned, the relationship between gratitude, your status as a sin or no sin, and courage. I really thought that was pretty fascinating. I've never, until right now, linked courage with gratefulness, but I can see actually it is. It's so easy to complain. It takes real courage to not complain under difficult circumstances. So that's something I have to work on. And there was a couple of others after that, which I'm 71 years old and can't remember. So thank you. I've got some things to work on. I really loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yes, Reverend Stone, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks again, Daniel, for very thought-provoking and deep sharing today with those readings. One thing that hit me was about the seriousness. Father, in the last three paragraphs there, Father talked about, he's living with people on death row and rubbing shoulders with them and how incredibly serious they are, and their last Chuseok and the last typhoon that comes along is like their last, and they're so serious. But then he says, among those people who walk the path of faith, I wonder how many have such a serious attitude, and how many value their life as a divine life and face each day with a new resolve. This is an important question, because I am in this serious place. I am going this way. So it's sort of like Father was incredibly, incredibly serious. That's why he could overcome He's like, so how serious am I? It's easy when you go on in your life of faith to get a little bit, I don't know, I guess habitual or something. But actually
Complacent.
keep that have to keep that seriousness. Otherwise we can't overcome. There's something come up. It's really hard for us. It's challenging. And do I have the seriousness to like Father to overcome that? Anyway, that was another thing that I reflected on this morning. Thanks, Daniel. God bless you.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg. Still got a bit of time for anyone else that wants to share.
Um, it's
Yes,
unrelated, but just share something that recently that's happened. Um, just yesterday, we had a kind of a, I don't know how to say, it wasn't quite a youth, it was more like but it was like a young adult sort of barbecue for Melbourne Cup Day. Um, it's not something that I advertised, but I just sent out to some of the young couples who and young members who I haven't really hung out with much, but I sort of know. And there's also a few new couples and a few new people in town. So I just sent out a message. I thought, oh, we'll just have a small barbecue and we'll just get together. Um, and I sent it. I wasn't sure how many people were going to respond because I didn't really, um, don't really hang out with them a lot. Not that I don't want to, but it's just that you know how things go. When a lot of the couples have got families and are working, so it's a bit hard to get together. And I thought, oh, Cup weekend, might as well try and do something. And it was really nice. Had a lot of, I think we had quite a number of second gen came along and with their kids and that. Um, and we had members who don't really, even members who are not really so much connected to can't come on a bit. And it was really nice because there was nothing, it was just bring some meat and we'll cook it and then we'll eat it. And that was kind of the whole thing. Um, but it was really nice to do that. It was really nice to just gather together with some people and just enjoy each other's company, I guess. So yeah, it was a very sort of spur of the moment idea to have and to do. But after that, I thought, oh, maybe I should do this a bit more. Because as family members and church members, we gather together we have our occasions to gather together, but and because we do that, that usually takes up the time that other people would normally spend time gathering, like on a Sunday or a Saturday or on a special occasion. But anyway, it was really nice, and um, it felt like I want to encourage everyone to, yeah, just if you get time or on a day when we're not doing anything as a movement, just get together and have a barbie or something with the nice weather coming up, maybe a beach day, just with a couple of people, because it's anyway, it was really nice. It was really nice. So yeah, nothing too deep, but I thought I'll share that.
That's a good idea. So did you choose your cup winners?
Oh no, I half thought about that of, let's do the cup thing, but I've never done it before. I don't know what to do. It's not very Melbourne-like of me, is it?
The roaster stops the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Uh, yeah. All right. So thank you. I mean, it's well, it is now that time for us to offer our unison prayers. So thanks, Daniel, and I'll just bring up the screen. Yes. Okay. Let's pray together. Thank you. Jew. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Reverend Daniel, for sharing, and I hope everyone has a great day and see you all again tomorrow. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you, Daniel.